Oh, Dr. Pam, how I've missed you. How are you?
Oh my gosh, Sherry is amazing. Come on.
You know she is. I love Dr. Sherry.
She's absolutely amazing.
I'm not saying
Absolutely.
that I didn't say that she wasn't amazing. I just said I missed you.
Okay, I appreciate that. But dang, if I could give this up to her every week, I would just because I'm just saying,
I know.
I
Yeah,
know,
she's
I'm
amazing.
I'm trying to get a life.
Doug, no, I mean, yeah, you need a life, but we a part of your life.
We know all you're like all of our relationships. We just temporary, okay?
Temporary.
We ain't hard and fast. They ain't no ring on it. Let's be honest, okay? So I really do appreciate you guys. And not that you'll care because most of you will be done. But I part of traveling and retiring is not being stuck every weekend in a group. Um, and again, I'm here in America for until May 18th, and I'm leaving for Panama. So I worked really hard to build this business. I love what I do, but I'm old and I want to travel. I want to see the world. I want to see the world. I will be a better person. Uh, I'm a better person because I understand culture. I travel in a world where um, I'm not treated differently because of the color of my skin. And that really, really matters to me. That really, really matters. Okay, so I'm teaching human development tonight. If it's your first time meeting me, I'm Dr. Pam. I do own this company. Uh, from the day that I've owned this company, my staff has always said, you need to back out. We'll make more money if you write content, blah, blah, blah. But I like what I do. I'm a clinician. I'm an LCSW by trade, and I love what I do. And I really hope it always shows. Sherry also is one of my clients. She started off as a client and she struggled with the LCSW for a couple of times. Um, and she's amazing. She's absolutely amazing. She's a die-hard social worker. Have you found that? She is out of Memphis and she lives in a city where uh, social workers of color have a lot of power and matter. And I love that about her. I do. So we're talking about human development tonight, but ask me questions in general, just general questions that you want to ask me, and I will definitely answer those. Sheila, do we know each other? Sheila Jones, do we know each other?
No. Kathy Knox is in your class and she was telling me how great it is. And she's a counselor and I'm a social worker. And so she would just
Okay.
let me know to
Okay.
join that it would
Okay.
be good for me because I
Okay.
was working with someone else in the past, but then things kind of took the wrong turn and I kind of,
Okay. Is
stayed.
this your first session
This is
with
my very first session.
nice to meet you. So you
Nice
came
to meet
by referral.
Yes.
Okay. And you are more than welcome to say none of my business. Who were you working with before? I know most of the tutors in the area.
Philip Latrell.
And did you do individual or group sessions with him?
It was mainly group.
Okay, okay. Um, uh, LM or LC?
LM.
Okay. And have you taken the class before?
Yeah, I failed it like 3 times.
Okay. How close have you come?
Um, maybe it was maybe 12, 13 points. It was a little
Okay.
ways
Okay.
away.
Okay. And again, I'm not trying to out you. I'm not trying to get in your business. I just really, it's important to me that I understand my clients, that I know where you're coming from. I do a lot of public speaking, and when we do public speaking, one of the things that we always learn is know your audience. You want to make sure that you're tailoring your question to the audience that you're working with. So most definitely. What do you do now? What's your current job?
Well, I work for Detroit Wayne Integrated Network, and my title is a residential care specialist.
Okay.
So I work with mental illness for adults.
Okay. Very
Yeah.
cool. Very cool. Nice to have you, and thanks for checking us out. I don't have the Latrell energy. Not gonna lie, I just don't. And we moved the group up. It usually started at 6, and I can tell you that my ADD medication is still working, which is
Okay.
better than my later nights. But I'm an LCSW by trade. We're the only company that tutors to all the tests, all of the mental health tests. That makes us very unique. We're run very large in about 10 years. So I quit my college professor job about in January. I've made this plan at least for the last 8 years to build my business big enough that I could see the world and run a business. I need to keep my house and still travel. So I retired January 2nd. I left for Mexico City February 2nd. I got back last Monday, and I'm leaving for Panama City May 18th. I'll
Oh,
spend six
wow.
weeks there. I'm not a huge fan of definitely living in America. So
Okay.
we'll figure it
Can
out. We'll figure it out.
can you explain the difference between LC and LM?
I can. Can I ask one of my people that have taken both of them? Priscilla, you've had both an LM and L. Well, you're working on your LM. You're working on your LC. As you begin to study, what do you think the difference is?
I think the difference is with the LC, with the LM, it is not as clinical based. I think it's more in the general range, just touching on a little bit of everything. Where now that I'm studying for my LC, I'm realizing that it's a little bit more clinical, it's more reasoning questions, I think, and it's coming definitely from more of a clinical aspect. Not a lot of recall on that one. On the LM, there is some recall, but I think with the LC, because I do individual with Dr. Pam, it's not a lot of recall. It's more reasoning questions, and the percentages is different with the LC as opposed to the LM.
Do you want to mastermind? Thank you. Thank you very much. Mastermind, you want to throw in? Do you have an LM?
Me
Yeah.
in Michigan is LLMSW.
Okay. Do you want to share? So I'll be very honest with you. I went to school in South Florida,
Mhm.
and I've never had an LM. There's no LM in South Florida. You go directly to an LC. So I really rely on what makes us great is because we really try to interview and talk to our clients. And also, I was a college professor for the last 15 years. So that's where my content comes from. But I like to hear from real life people. So tell me, Mastermind.
What's the question, Doc?
She asked the difference between the LM and the LC.
Oh, the LM I think is more like for generalists. Like someone said, I think Priscilla said, it kind of touch on everything. But with the clinical, it's a lot of medication and diagnosing questions about diagnosing the medication. And I didn't when I did the LM when I did the LM, I didn't realize that I would fail by so many points because I'm so used to doing clinical. You know, I didn't know it was different questions on the LM that I wasn't used to. They were asking about policies and different things that I just didn't know. But the clinical, like, it's more assessment and diagnosing.
Okay. I'm going to say to you that things like community social work are both tests. They're on both. My LM is going to be higher on have more questions on community social work. My LC is going to have less. When it comes to the theorists, the interventions, that's where a lot of people struggle. My LM still has like Carl Rogers. It still has knowing group theories. My LC is going to include some other theories. It's going to include usually some narrative therapy, some solution focus, some gestalt. I'll find those more on the LC. But in general, most of my clients in every area struggle on intervention. I'm not a fan of the acronyms. I don't have enough room in my head to I just my brain space doesn't have that to keep adding the acronyms. So I definitely follow what you learned in school. So what you learned in school was we assess, assess, assess. And when we can't assess, there's a couple of reasons things are coming up, right? If feelings are in the way, and safety always trumps everything. Every single question you see is about, well, let me back that up. So if it's a recall question or let me back. So the questions that say, what do I do first? Those are always usually measuring social work process, but there's also theory behind it. There's a theory behind every question. So if I can figure out what they want me to say, what do they want me to know? What are they trying to see if I know? And everybody takes the exact same test. So we don't care what your agency does. We don't care if your agency takes a gift. We could care less. It is about what does the test want you to answer. I don't ever pretend to make anybody a better social worker, a better clinician, not at all. My goal is to make you a better test taker. Most of my clients, the majority of my clients are smart as I'll get out. I call you the smart kids. But you never learned to study because you were the smart kids. You don't have any study techniques. And a lot of my clients have just taken questions, studied questions, and not really studied content. And I'm always open for discussion. If I'm wrong, just say, Dr. Pam, no way, no how. That's not true. I'm good. Did that answer your question, Sheila?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I also don't believe there's an easy way out. I believe that we recommend 90 days of me being in your head, listening to me, not taking questions, just knowing content because you know it. And especially today, we are doing human development, and that is normal human development as well as, let me back that up. Do you remember your HBSE, Human Behavior in the Social Environment class? Everybody remember that? You had it usually at the undergrad and the master's level. We're learning about normal human behavior. If I've got a 15-year-old that talks back to their mama, am I surprised? I may want to choke them. But that's normal human behavior. Erickson says that's identity versus role confusion. I just want, do you guys remember being 15 and 16? I know it was a long time ago for me. I just wanted to be anything that my mama was not. That's normal human behavior. So that's what this chapter really looks at is what's normal, what's not normal. And according to our theorist, that's normal human behavior. At what age should children be potty trained according to the test?
Is it 3 or 4?
What'd your mom and them say?
My mom and them said
Ding,
2.
ding, ding. Absolutely. But that's not the right test answer. Mom and him said if they can take that diaper off and they can talk, they don't gotta be no diapers. But that's not the right test answer. So I need you to let go of what you do in your everyday life and what may be working for you. It really might be good, but for the test, that's not the right answer. Okay? Give me 1 second. Let me try to how to get these people in. Ooh. That guy.
Sheila, you in Detroit. You said you're in Detroit, right?
Yes, I'm in Brownstown, but I've been in Detroit all my life. I grew
Okay.
up in Detroit. So yes, let's just say Detroit.
So you're LL?
um LLMSW.
Okay. All right. Cool. I'm in Detroit too. I'm right downtown.
And you're L?
LL.
Okay.
But I'm testing for my LC.
Okay. Great.
How's everybody else? I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be rude. Priscilla. Hey, is it Aisha?
It's Asia. I'm doing
Asia.
pretty good.
How's everybody? How y'all doing?
We're good.
Ready to
And
pass this test.
you said you're in Detroit?
Yeah, I'm in Detroit,
Okay. I'm in Maryland if anybody's in the Maryland area.
Okay.
Maryland.
I'm in Ohio.
Oh, we all on the what everybody else 75, right? Is that or
I'm
69?
more so off of 95.
95. Okay, but we all
75 for me.
yeah. Okay,
Okay.
cool. I used to study I didn't go to private classes. I watched Phil on YouTube, and I had started studying with him. And the reason that I stopped, I like him though, but I was dozing off, and he said quick review. Do you ever heard him scream quick review? I almost fell out my chair. He scared me so bad. I'm telling you,
Yes.
he scared me real bad. He got a lot of energy.
Yeah, he got a lot. It was just a time frame. I mean, I it just was so long,
Yeah,
that after a while I just wasn't catching half of it. But I did enjoy studying with him.
yeah, yeah. I'm tired. I'm ready to pass.
Remind me, is Phil he's the white guy? Is Phil the white guy?
Yeah,
Okay. Okay. I think I think I went to a couple of his groups, but I couldn't keep up with the energy, the yelling and and I know he's doing that probably to try to keep us awake and engaged. But I was like, I can't do this. And then with the color code, and I was getting confused with all the colors. I was like, nah, I gotta back up out of this. So
yeah.
Okay. I had to go out to come back in to make sure I could add everybody in the session. So I do apologize for that. Okay. Do you see me, hear me, everybody?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, Mastermind, I know that's your background.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Do you know that I really like that as I travel? I'm truly a city girl. And when I was in Mexico City, I love my apartment's on the street. I love the noise. I really, really do. Because I had kids and a family, blah blah blah. We've always lived in suburbia, but now that it's just me, I love the background noise. When I go to Panama, I'm staying on the main avenue um, because I like that. I like life and partying and people. Oh, I love that. Okay, so we're talking about human development tonight. Is everybody in? Everybody can see me. Everybody's camera's on. Let me make sure because you guys know Dr. Pam's really sure about your camera being on. Uh, Everybody's camera's on. Okay. So before I get started talking about human development, and guys, I know you've had Sherry for a couple of weeks, and Sherry is a lot more OCPD than I am. She's got PowerPoints and she's lined up and she's amazing. Yeah, mm, I ain't that type one. So questions you want to ask me that are not related to human development.
Jessica, do you remember the question from Dr. Pam that we was gonna ask her?
I think
No,
I answered that with, did I not answer that one? That was something you sent me in my email.
I think it was. I know we had asked a substance abuse question, but there was another one, and I kind of forget what it was.
Yeah, I'll try.
Sorry.
That's all right. I'll try to find it.
3, 6, 7. Somebody's camera's off. Okay, human development. So these are questions that are going to be the same no matter what program you learn from. They're always exactly the same. Piaget is Piaget. Beck is Beck. Uh, the Freud is Freud. They will never ever change. So when we talk about Kohlberg, Kohlberg is known for what? Anybody?
Moral development.
Development.
More, got it. And he based his theory on the Heinz story. Does that ring a bell? What does
Healing
that talk
medicine
about?
for his wife and asking, I guess, questions of like higher order of morality. Like, was it okay to steal the medicine because he couldn't afford it, or should he have followed the law?
Got it. So if I end up being pre-conventional, Kohlberg said there are 3 levels and 6 stages. And unfortunately, you're not going to find a question that says, according to Kohlberg's theory, anybody seen a question that obvious? Usually not. They're usually based on the assumption that you know the theory, it's very vague, and you're trying to figure out, okay, what is the theory behind this? Every question measures a KSA, a knowledge, skill, or an ability. Okay. So Kohlberg is moral development. And we're talking in general about how we develop. All of my human development stages are really based on ages and stages. Cognitive development is going to be Piaget. Psychosexual is who?
That's Freud.
Always sex, baby. Okay. And we understand that the 4 basic ones, right, are cognitive, they're going to be sexual, they're going to be moral, and then Erickson. Erickson is the only one that talks about taking it through adulthood. Everybody else says we take it only to 12. Okay, let me close out some windows. I'm going to start with Freud because everybody loves sex. Ooh, right? Sex, baby. So Freud has oral, anal, phallic, latency, and genital. What does that mean?
It mean old ass Pam Love Go.
Ding, ding, ding. And yes, she does. Okay, so if you watch my older videos, I start off with Orphan Annie, Pretty Little Girl, because that's the one most people prefer. Okay, so sorry guys, I'm trying to close out windows. I've been teaching back to back for like 3 days. I'm trying to close out some windows. I can pull up what we're working on. Keep talking to me. Priscilla, tell me about Freud. And now we're not talking about how he healed people or he helped people. We're just talking about his psychosexual stages. Tell me about that.
You would call on me.
I would.
Oral Oral is when you're dealing with infants from, I would think, from birth up until maybe 18 months, and they learn based on the mouth. That's the oral stage. They put everything in their mouth. That's how they are
Mhm.
exploring the world. And then the anal stage is from 2 to 4, I believe, and that's when they're focused on potty training. Um, you want me to stop talking now?
No, I just gave you a little hint to go by. Keep going.
Okay, the phallic stage is 3 to 6, and that is when they are, I have no idea, but I can tell you about
Girl,
the,
you got a toy box. Don't act like you don't know.
that's when they start to recognize that boys and girls' genitals are different. They have different body
No, that is
parts.
when I enjoy my genitals. Okay. I
Okay,
find my toy box. Oh, look what I got.
okay,
Okay. But let's go back. We don't have to agree with the craziness of Freud, but
okay,
if we know that usually kids 3 to 6 find their toy box. That is when masturbation begins. It feels good. Most of us have grown up with that, oh, don't touch that. What we want to teach kids is it's yours, it's okay. Do it in privacy and wash your hands. That's all we want to do. That's really what we want to teach kids. A funny anecdote, I always like to share things that we remember. One of my colleagues at a graduation, and with the graduation as a professors, we always walk ahead and we go first. And she's adopted a girl that had been abused. And so her two adopted children were sitting on the row right behind the professors. We're on stage because that's what we do. And she looks down, and her 5-year-old is masturbating in front of everybody. Mm-hmm. So we know in general, right? That's what you do at 3 to 5. However, this obviously this girl had been sexually abused because that masturbation, that pure pleasure, the id, was taking over everything, right? So that's what it looks like in real life. So 3 to 5, according to Freud, is hey, I got this thing I can take with me all the time. Yes, I can. So oral stage is satisfying the sex in my mouth. The anal stage is setting the sex, satisfying the sex in my anus. And 3 to 5, my phallic zone, that's where the Oedipus and the Electra stage occur. What are those? What's the Oedipus stage, somebody? It starts with an O, but it's pronounced Oedipus. What happens there?
Is that when the son is in love with the mother?
Got it. And what's he afraid of?
Castration.
If daddy finds out, he's going to cut off my PP. Okay. So in a question, what it looks like is, the boy goes in to have his tonsils removed, and they put a needle in his groin. What's he afraid of? It's not pain. He's afraid he's going to wake up and his penis is going to be gone. Do you have to agree with this theory? Heck to the no. You just have to know what Freud said. OAP, latency, you'll see that several times when it comes to Freud. Latency means hidden, manifest means seen. Okay, if you grew up in some churches, right, the pastor said you need to manifest your dreams. That means let's make them happen. But latency means hidden. The reason that I remember that is because the Unabomber wrote his manifesto. He wrote out what he wanted to happen. That's your manifest. Okay. And now we get to the last stage, OAPLG. That is genitalia stage. That's sex. Anytime that I'm having sex, 12 or older, that's the genital stage. This is great, normal human development. But what Freud says is many times, and he used the word fixated, we get fixated in that stage. So, as an adult, if my mother didn't satisfy the sex in my mouth, what does that look like as an adult?
Overeating, smoking, anything pretty much to go to your mouth because that
Got it,
wasn't
got it.
satisfied. So now you do.
I'm trying to satisfy the sex in my mouth that my mother didn't fix. Okay. So let's take it back to again how my id, ego, and superego develop. Remember, Freud said everything is unconscious. You poor dumb woman, you know nothing. Right? That was his person. That was the people he worked with. His first client was her name was Bertha Poppenheim. That was her real name, but she was definitely known as Anna O. It wasn't his client. It was the other somebody else's client, and he really wanted to work with her. So Freud said that everything is in the unconscious. The majority of things are in the unconscious. If you look at a test question, what we know is that the preconscious is the term we use. Unsubconscious is a lay term. So subconscious is never going to be a right answer on our tests. Those are people that are not clinicians. Clinicians believe that things are in our preconscious and in our unconscious, and there are very few things that are in our conscious. Okay. My id is my what?
That's the pleasure principle.
Pleasure principle. Yes, I know I sound just like Janice. Okay, so my id is to eat, sleep, and procreate. I'm born with my id. Why do I need my id to survive? Why does society need me to have an id? Aisha, why do I need an id?
For your instincts.
What are my instincts?
Uh, just I don't know how to explain that.
Eat, sleep,
There we
and
go.
procreate.
Oh, there you go.
Girl, I was in Mexico. I went to a bar crawl. Okay, many of the lots of things I did. I didn't videotape that, by the way. There was a 30-year-old fine black man. He was 30. 30. 30. Do you know how old I am? Double his age. That man was so fine. And it was the bar crawl. And we in Mexico City. And you know, there was a couple other black men, and they were all probably gentlemen. They were all young, but this man was so fly. What did my id want to do? Come on, girl. Y'all know what did my id want to do?
Pleasure principle.
To eat, sleep, and
And procreate.
procreate. My body. Oh, girl, I'm past procreation years, but that man was so fine. My id said, "You ain't never gonna see him again. You in Mexico City. Girl, just go do the nasty." Okay, I know none of you've ever thought that way, just me. I understand that. I know, just me. Okay. My super ego said, "Pam, the rule is you cannot date anyone younger than your children." That's what my kids have set out. My son is 34 and my daughter is 29. I've got a 22-year-old, but 30s, no, right? My super ego's like, "Pam, no, 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 no. Be perfect." No, my id's like, "Girl, come on, girl, you ain't stayed a 30-year-old since you was 30. And you was married then, right?" Super ego, angel, no, 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 no. My ego said, "Girl, you own a social media business. You cannot. It might be on social media." So my ego takes care of between my id and my super ego. Because my id was like, "Girl, come on, T30. Girl, can you still claim that?" My super ego said, "Baby, no, 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 no." My ego said, "Let's be realistic, Pam. Is it worth it? Is it worth it?" Okay. So my ego keeps my id and super ego in check. The fact is that we need to procreate. Society won't go on if we don't eat, sleep, and have sex. That's factual, right? The super ego says if we need to have sex, we get married. Right? That's what that means. So my id is pure pleasure, my super ego is pure morality, but the ego regulates that. Make sense? Ego defense mechanisms, what do they do? Priscilla, what do my defense mechanisms do?
They protect us. That's like our safeguards when we feel frightened or just scared. We use our defense
Absolutely.
mechanisms to protect.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So denial is one of the biggest ones, right? So denial with my drug and alcohol users, like, I can't handle reality right now. So my defense mechanisms kick in to protect me from things I don't know. Now, remember, Freud said everything is unconscious. You don't remember these things. Whenever I see the word insight, I see intrapsychic. All of those things are things that I'm not aware of. There is one defense mechanism that I am aware of. And what is that one? Anybody?
Is that suppression?
It is suppression. Repression means I push it so far down I don't really remember. But suppression means I remember and I choose not to deal with it. So there are two theories of Freud. One is how we develop, and the other is how we treat. In this chapter, it's only about how we develop. So my psychosexual stages are how my personality develops. That's my id, my ego, and my superego. Okay. Remember, in the latency stage, nothing happens. It's hidden. Okay. So the questions I'll see, and I'll show you questions, is if I get fixated, if I get stuck in the stage, if I get stuck in the oral stage, drug and alcohol people many times believe that theory. I drink and I smoke because my mother didn't satisfy the sex in my mouth, but I don't remember it. I don't know why I'm drinking so much. I know I'm trying to satisfy the sex, but Freud says everything is hidden. Oral, anal, phallic, latency, and genital are Freudian stages. I'm born with my id. I'm born with it. Eat, sleep, and procreate. My ego is there at the oral stage, but you'll find that my superego doesn't have a place until I find my toy box. Right? My angel says, don't you touch that, Pam. Don't you touch that. So while they're there, the superego doesn't really have a place until my phallic stage. Okay. If a client, the goal of the theorist is if I end my phallic stage appropriately, I'm going to identify with the same sex parent. If I don't, I'm going to struggle with my own sexuality for the rest of my life. Some people say that's where those big phallic symbols come from, the Washington Monument, all of those things, because I was not able to identify with the same sex parent. Okay. Freud, this is how we develop. This is the sexual part: oral, anal, phallic, latency, and genital. I always start with Freud because Freud then lets us understand Erikson. Erikson went to school with Anna Freud. Anna Freud, by the way, developed most of our, defense mechanisms. But Erikson's stages are really based on how he learned from Freud. 1 second, guys. I'm just going to pull this up. I've seen so many times on Facebook that you don't really need to know these theories. They're vague. You might never ever see the names at all. But on my LM, there's 27%, and on my LC, there's 24%. I really, really have to know these theories. And they're vague. I may never, ever see Freud's name, but I still have to understand that that's really going to be on the test. Let me show you a question of what that might look like, knowing Freud. One second. You see my question? Yes, Dr. Pam, we see your question. We'd love to
Yes,
answer this.
yes, Dr. Pam, we see your question.
Thank you. Go ahead and take this for me, Priscilla.
You meet a 32-year-old man. He describes himself as anal retentive, someone who hates a mess, is quite punctual and respectful of authority. He also says he's been told he is stubborn and futile. According to Floyd's stages of psychosexual development, this man's
Frugal. Frugal. What does
frugal,
that mean?
frugal. He frugal, is that cheap?
Ding,
No,
ding,
not cheap.
ding. Absolutely. He might be a tightwad.
Okay.
Did that help?
Um, yeah, I think. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Um,
So I
according
understand the
to,
question. Mhm.
okay, he is describing himself as one of the stages. He's a 32-year-old man, and he describes himself as one of the stages. And based on his age, development, this man is
Okay.
one
So
man,
according to
according to
Freud's
Freud's stages of
stages of
psychos, this man's development was arrested in the
what does that mean? Arrested in that stage. What does that mean?
developed. No,
Stuck.
he's stuck in that stage.
Arrested means it stopped. I didn't go past the next stage. Okay, Miss former criminal justice person. If you arrest somebody, they stuck, right? They can't go back and they can't go back to their home, right? Arrested means I was stuck in a stage.
Yes.
Okay. So let's read all four and rule out.
Phallic stage, oral stage, genital stage, and anal stage.
Mhm.
And
I'm going to rule out, even if you know the answer.
I do not know the answer.
Well, okay. OAPLG, and it's a reading test. Freud has said if my mother doesn't satisfy the sex in my oral, anal, or phallic stage, then as an adult, I'll be stuck in that stage.
So I would rule out A, the phallic stage.
Okay. I don't see anything about Oedipus or Electra.
Electra.
I don't see any sex stuff there. I'll take that
I
out.
would
Good.
rule out the oral because he's not talking about his mouth or anything. And then for the genital stage,
So now we're down to two. We're going to follow the rules. We get down to two. We're
the
going to go
two,
back to the question.
the question is
So,
saying that he's anal retentive, someone who hates a mess. He's quite punctual and respectful of authority. He's frugal, stubborn, and he's stuck. I would rule out genital stage and I would choose the anal stage because he doesn't like a mess and he's anal retentive
mhm,
and stubborn.
very good. So remember, it's a reading test, first of all, right? And it talks about the anal retentive stage. And the only stages I can get stuck in are O, A, and P, oral, anal, or phallic.
Okay.
Okay. Everybody see how we got there and why that's the best answer? Okay. So he is stuck in the anal stage. It's always going to be a reading test or giving you hints and clues, always in the question. Okay. So what I'm looking for is, again, just understanding that if my mother, it's always my mother's fault, if she does not fix that in that stage, oh my gosh, then I'm going to be stuck. It's never my daddy's fault. It's always my mother's fault. Okay, so then I start with Freud so I can go to Erikson. Erikson went to school with Anna Freud. So Erikson's stages are going to very much line up with the first three, at least, because those are where we get fixated. Those are going to line up with Erikson. Erikson is psychosocial. What does that mean? Anybody? Psycho is Freud, a little bit crazy part. and the social is how we develop in our environment. Okay. So my psychosocial stage, and so many people have tried to just memorize these. And I promise you, it don't work for you. It just doesn't work. And a lot of the times you don't even realize that it's a psychosocial question. You're just trying to figure out like what they're asking me because you may not see Erickson's name at all. My repeat offenders, you're aware that this is a huge chunk of the test, right? Okay, we've got to know who said what. And their names might not be there. Does everybody know what stage you're in?
Yes.
Okay. Asia, what stage are you in?
Intimacy versus isolation.
He says, girl, if you don't get a man or a woman by the time you 29, 39, you're going to die at old maid. You don't have to agree with it. Okay, by the way, this was written before we had gay people. La, la, la. We always had gay people, but we didn't acknowledge the fact, right? So the theories are based on if you don't get a man by the time you're 29, 39, you're going to be an old maid. That's the hat I need you to wear, okay? Because that's what we're studying history. We're not studying what happens now. The theorists have been written way before you were born, and really, they don't care what you think. Do you know the theorist? Okay. So the first three stages, did I put that in your chat box? Let me see. So no, my copy is very blurry. Am I teaching you things that you already know? Because I can do things differently if it's things you already know. I don't ever want to waste your time. Do you know these theories already? Do we go something else?
No.
Okay, I'm gonna keep talking then. Thank you very much. I put it in your chat box. You can right click it and save it because my copy is probably hard to read. So remember, oral, anal, phallic. The first stage is trust versus mistrust. Despite what your mom and him said, when that baby cries, pick that baby up. If I cry and cry and cry and I learn that no one ever comes, I don't trust the world. That's the same as the oral stage. Right? The next stage is, of course, the oral anal stage. That's autonomy versus shame and doubt. I put on my Barbie panties. I got on my big girl panties. Oh, look at me. I'm so happy. I have an accident. And mama says, beat your butt, girl. So now I feel shameful and I feel shame and doubt. By the way, we know that one of the highest places of physical abuse is around potty training. It's because our mom and them told us they should be potty trained by the time they're 2. That's not true. That's not true for the test and not true for the real world. 3 is when daycares say children should be potty trained. We diagnose in copresis pooping on yourself at 4. In your rhesus, we diagnose at 5. And that's because we've already ruled out all the medical issues. Okay, so poop is 4, enuresis is 5. And yes, your mom and him said if they could talk, they could take the diaper off, they should be potty trained. That is not the right answer for the test. That is not the right answer as a social worker. You do not want to tell the family that their child is 2, despite the fact your child was potty trained at 2. It doesn't matter. I can't tell a family there's something wrong with that kid because he ain't potty trained by 2. Those are facts. We don't get to bring in our personal information or how we raised our kids into any of these sessions. Tell a family to beat their kid. You want to lose your license? Code of ethics, the law doesn't say that you can't hit your kid. It doesn't say that. It says your kid can't have a mark that lasts for more than 24 hours, right? That's what it says. If you tell a parent it's okay to beat their kid and or CPS gets called in, what are they gonna do? My social worker said That's what's going to happen. Personally, as a woman of color, I don't think there's ever a reason to put your hand on anybody else. We talk about the genogram and how we pass down information. We beat our children because we learned that from our ancestors. Our great grandmamas was beat by the slave master, and we kept passing it down. That's a trait I refuse to pass down. I refuse to pass that down. But in general, as a social worker, we don't ever tell a parent that's okay. Okay, so now that autonomy versus shame, that's my potty training. 3 to 5, remember that's the same as Freud's finding my phallic stage. Oh, found my toy box. I found my toy box and mama says, don't touch that, girl. Now I'm in 5 to 11. That's industry versus inferiority. In that stage, that is what I'm supposed to figure out what I'm good at. Right? Am I good at spelling or basketball or football? What am I good at? For most people, according to this Erickson's theory, it was school. But if I'm not good at school, I need to find some place that I'm good at. What do I do that I'm good with? My next one is identity versus role confusion. Do y'all remember being 13? 13, you're middle school, 8th grade, 9th grade. You're trying to go out Friday night football game. You just want to call your girls and ask them what they're wearing. Come on, we all want to be alike, right? Oh, we wear our hair in pigtails, ponytails, right? We all get our hair braided. We all get our nails done. We're going to dress alike. By the time you're 21, you better not show up at my party wearing the same dress I am. You better go home and change. So my identity, and also remember that's the term identity crisis, where I get stuck because what Erickson said is that many times is those college age, or I'm in college and I don't know who I am. So he called that identity crisis. The midlife crisis happens at 40. So my dentistry is what I'm good at. And remember, Erickson said, if I can't figure out what I'm good at in that stage, then I'll feel inferior for the rest of my life. Okay. Identity versus role confusion. If I get stuck in that stage, I don't know who I am. I'm still trying to follow my friends. That's my identity crisis. If I can figure those stages out, I go to the next stage, that is intimacy. I can be in love with somebody because I know who I am. I know we're like girls or boys or tall girls or short boys or red or green. I know what I like. I know who I am. So I can get through that stage because I'm good and I can be in love with somebody else. I am in generativity versus stagnation. Okay. What I normally talk about is y'all had some professors that were stagnated. You had some professors that ain't wrote a new syllabus in 10 years. There was a huge decrease in college professors in the middle of COVID. Teach from home? What? I can't do that. Because they'd always done the same thing all the time. Generativity means I'm leaving a legacy. I want it to matter that I was here. If I don't care, then I'm stagnated. And of course, the last stage is ego integrity versus despair. I'm looking back at the end of my life and I'm trying to decide, did I do the right things? Did I make the right choices? And if you've ever worked in hospice or in general with people who are dying, there are some people who just like, you know what, they're at the end of their life and they're too mad to die. They're just too mad to die. Like, hey, you made these choices. And remember, for the test, personality doesn't change. If I was rotten when I was young and nobody liked me, if I was a bad parent and no one cared about me, it's not going to change. It's not going to change one bit as I become older. Okay. Okay. I'm going to put some questions to that. This question in particular is not an Erickson question. It really is based on our first theorist we studied. Okay. Sheila, would you like this question? Well, yes, Dr. Pam. Thank you so much for calling on me. I feel so very lucky. No one ever said. You have to read it out loud. Understand the question first.
Since Ben was 3 years old, he loved to follow his dad into the bathroom every morning and watch him get ready for the day. Little Ben would imitate his father and pretend to shave and brush his teeth and gargle just like him. Freudians would prefer to this behavior as
So stay in my question. I know it's a
idolization.
Freud. I know it's a Freud question, right? Because it says so. And I know we're talking about human development. So he's 3, and 3 talks about the phallic stage, right? So the Freud said if it works out well, we identify with the same sex parent. So tell me again in your own words, what's the question asking me?
Well, identify, I see.
Okay, so I want you to stay in my question first before you look at any of the answers. What's the question asking me? Tell me about Ben.
How he intimidate. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, it's, oh my God. um, what am I trying to say? I can't get the word out.
So all I want you to do is paraphrase. That's how you got through grad school, right? Not put it in your own words. What the question is asking me. So tell me about Ben being since he was 3. That's all I want at this point.
Well, that he followed his dad.
Mm-hmm. Okay. He would
He
imitate
want
his
he watched
father,
him. That was,
pretend to save.
yeah.
Okay. Absolutely. So we always want to, and most of us spend so much time in the questions, we don't spend a lot of time in understanding the stem. And I know a lot of people say just read the last line or read the last line first, but we really want to understand the whole question. What is it asking me? Okay, so he's 3. He follows dad to the bathroom every morning. He'd get ready. He'd pretend he would be like his dad. Okay.
Mhm.
Now, looking for the term that answers this question. Okay. So read all 4, please.
Imitation,
Mm-hmm.
idolization, initialization, and identification.
Okay. Now I'm going to rule out, even if I know the answer, we go through the same process all the time. What is not way know how the answer?
Mm, this one is really tricky, but
It is. It is. But I'm going to tell you, it's a recall question. And a lot of people struggle because it's simply recall. The
can I say what
answer,
I think the answer
you
is?
can. You sure can.
I think it's identification. I could be
It is.
wrong.
No, you're absolutely right. Because that's Freud's word. That is exactly what the answer is. Okay. And that is a matter of just all of those words sound alike, don't they?
Yes.
They do. But I'm looking for what did Freud say? And Freud's answer is I identify with the same sex parent. If I don't have a problem, I identify with the same sex parent. Good job. That is really knowing the verbiage. And many of us would spend hours on this question, or not hours, but a lot on this question because we're trying to figure out, because imitation, idolization, they all sound the same, they sound the same thing. But it's a recall question. I have to know what Freud said.
It's trick. That one was tricky.
But you did well, didn't you?
I guess.
No,
Thanks.
no, girl, you better toot your own horn. Come on, come on. No, no, no. We call it. I'm loud and proud.
I tried.
We need to go do some CBT with you. Change your stankin' thinking. Okay, Gloria, take this one. How are you, by the way?
Sorry, I had to unmute. I'm doing well, Dr. Pam. How are you?
I am great. Did you
Good.
follow my videos when I was in Mexico City?
Yes, of
Ah,
course.
ah.
I enjoy them.
If we'll go to Panama, I'm just saying I'll be in Panama.
I'm excited
Gloria,
for
you're
you.
bilingual, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
Girl, I'm looking for a Spanish tutor. I'm just saying we
Aw.
could do some bartering, okay?
Yeah,
Just so you know, because I need.
I'm all for it. You just let me know because
Oh,
I'm available.
I'm gonna hold you up to that. I'm just
No
saying.
problem.
Where did you learn
Absolutely.
Spanish?
Well, I was born in South America. I was born in Chile.
Ah, so I've
So,
been told that I need to focus on Mexican Spanish because that's the most common one. But I'm going to Panama, and do I need to learn Spanish, or
no, there's just slang words that might be different. There's words in Mexico, they're a little bit different. But for the most part, I mean, Spanish is Spanish. But there might be words like as far as friends or different kinds of foods that might pertain to Panama. And some foods that we say in Chile are different in Mexico. So it depends. But for the most part, you'll communicate well. I can definitely help you.
Jessica tuned in because she's my Puerto Rican who also speaks Spanish. So, Jessica, what do you think? What kind of Spanish should I learn? Just learn some Spanish, Pam, and
Um,
get over it.
at least in Mexico, they're probably a little bit more.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, I'm breaking up, but I'm afraid to sign off and sign back on. I think that in Mexico, at least, I know that there have been some times where some of my friends are Mexican and they just tell me to just slow down my Spanish. And then there are a few terms like we would say jugo de China in Puerto Rico and they would say jugo de naranja. So there are some slight variations.
Can you translate that for me?
I'm sorry, so if I was asking for orange juice,
Uh-huh.
we would tend to use jugo de China because um, Chinese people actually introduced oranges to Puerto Rican people, is the story that I was told. And then
Okay.
naranja would be their version of saying orange juice or how they would say orange.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much. So I do offer bartering services. So I'm gonna have to like hook up with my clients. Yes. I lived in my children. I've always my dog speaks Spanish. My kids speak Spanish. They all lived in Miami. My groomer, my housekeeper, they all speak Spanish. I understand enough. Maybe not. But anyway, let's go to the next question, okay? So, Gloria, this is yours.
Okay, so an adult client comes to you and shares that they have been struggling with emotional eating and weight issues all their life, and that they use food to comfort and deal with the stress in their lives. Your hypothesis is that they continue to experience an oral fixation. Which theory of lifespan development are you basing your hypothesis? Oh, wait, I can't say the word. I
Sorry.
can't say.
Sorry. Here we go. Apologize.
Which theory of lifespan development are you basing your hypothesis on?
Okay.
So an
So
adult
stay in
client
my question first. Yeah.
came to me and then they shared that they're struggling with emotional eating that's making them have weight issues, and they share that that's something that they've struggled with in their life, using food to comfort and deal with stress. So my hypothesis about it is that there's something going on with some oral fixation for this client. So what theory of lifespan development am I basing my hypothesis on? Why am I basing it on an oral fixation?
And what theory would say that?
And so what theory would say that? It's a lifespan development. Evolutionary, contextual, humanistic, or psychodynamic. So
Can we talk about all of those? So evolutionary is what?
Evolutionary. I think evolutionary is the world, the times, the life, how
we came from monkeys, girl.
Right.
Okay. I mean, again, we don't have to agree or disagree, but that's what evolutionary says, right? That we have developed and changed over time. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to take that one out.
Yes.
Contextual, what does that mean?
I don't know. I'm not too sure. I'm thinking context. That's
Absolutely. 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 What I normally talk about in this one is the DSM, and in general, we take things out of context. We don't understand. If you've ever been to an African American funeral and the woman is like 103 years old and her daughters are 90 and they still trying to crawl in the casket going, Mama, don't leave us. Oh my God. Like, okay, it sounds crazy, but if you take it into context, you understand that that's pretty normal for an African American funeral. If I went to a Jewish funeral, Hebrew, my friends, there's no crying, it's silence, and there are no flowers. So I have to understand things in the context, right? There's a question many times, that's where the Urban Dictionary comes in. My girl is fat, P-F-A-T. If I don't understand that in the context, I'm missing something. Okay. Humanistic is going to be either Carl Rogers, Maslow, or Satir. Those are my humanistic people. And anything psychodynamic is going to belong to Freud, unconscious. Okay. Now, given the context of the question, what is not my answer?
A, B, and C are not your answers.
And why is D the correct answer?
D is the correct answer because we are looking to the younger years, how the person developed.
What words in the question prove it to me?
All their life, weight issues all their life, and they use food to comfort and deal with stress in their life.
Oh, keep going. No, if it's Freud, I'm looking for oral, anal, phallic latency.
They share that they've been struggling with emotional eating.
Your hypothesis is?
Yeah, oral fixation.
Ding, ding, ding. That mama didn't satisfy the sex in my mouth.
Right.
So now I'm trying to overeat or do whatever it takes to satisfy the sex in my mouth. That is a Freudian question. Does everybody see that? That you don't have to agree. You just have to know, what would Freud say? Yeah. Freud says that you overeat, that you drink too much because your mama didn't satisfy the sex in your mouth. I know, I don't care how bizarre it sounds. I don't care. I just want you to know, on my LM, 27% and my LC are based on these theories. We good? You with me? Do I look like Freud? Dr. Pam did not make up these theories. I swear to you, I didn't say, well, based on this. Okay. So again, we're sticking with our major theorists in this theory. So I started off with Erickson. He's the only one that goes through lifetime. And he took his theory because he went to school with Anna Freud. So the first three stages of his theory line up with the first three stages of Freud. Now I'm going to go to my schematic, the way that my brain works or how my brain develops, and that's going to be Piaget. Piaget says that our brain learns. He's a developmental theorist, so he talks about the importance of ages and stages. Okay. Whenever I use the word schematic, two choices, CBT or Piaget. CBT is how my brain is already developed, and Freud and sorry, Beck says, girl, you got some stankin' thinking, you got some cognitive distortions. But Piaget talks about how my brain learns. If we go back, we look at neurodevelopmental, as my brain is developing, that's where I find autism. I find lower IQ. I find fetal alcohol syndrome as my brain is developing. Neurocognitive disorders, give me an example of those. My brain is already developed. What's a neurocognitive disorder?
Dementia.
Dementia, absolutely. A TBI, anything that happens that changes the way that I think. Neurocognitive brain, the way that I think. Neurodevelopment is how my brain develops. So in Piaget, we're in human development, how my brain develops. Okay, Natalie, girl, put that pen down. You get this video for the rest of your life. Do you know that? You can have it for the rest of your life. I want you to watch this video 15 times this week, over and over and over. I want to be all up in your head. You can stop the video and take notes. I don't want you to ever take notes from a book. Here's what happens. You read the APGAR book, you read whatever book, and you write verbatim from the book. You have no clue what that means. I'm not picking on you. I just do this all day, every day. That's what happens all the time. That's how you got through grad school. You took notes from the book, but you didn't know what the book meant. You had human development, Natalie. You got an A, undergrad and grad, didn't you? Yes, you did. 4.0, 3.9. Girl, don't be lying to me. Okay. What is your bachelor's in? Do you have a BSW or something else?
Can you hear me now?
I can.
Oh, okay. Master's in social work,
What's your bachelor's in?
telecommunication.
Oh, girl, you're a little behind. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
And honestly, I say that to you because the master's level assumes that you know things already. So this is human development, and the bachelor's level assumes that you have all of these already. So it's more of a struggle when you're getting your master's in this. It really is. Okay. However, what I need you to learn, what I want you to learn is just to listen to my voice. Let me teach you. Listen, let me be in your head. That's really, really what I want. What other study material have you tried?
Oh, I'm just coming to the party. I'm just getting back to social work.
Okay, okay. You didn't do any TDC or Philatrel or any of the other? Oh, girl, good job. Good job. Just focus on my voice. Focus on my voice. Honestly, let me teach you. What happens is when we take notes from the book is we memorize the notes, but we don't really understand what it means. And I'm going to ask my other people in the room. Am I wrong? If I'm wrong, tell me. Please tell me, because I took my LCSW about 1,000,000 years ago. There were dinosaurs still. Mastermind, this is not your first rodeo.
Oh man, can you repeat the question?
What advice would you give for someone who's taken their exam for the first time?
Oh yeah. So just look at the videos over and over again, and it's gonna start to make sense. But just that's the only advice I have. Like if I would have did that, I wouldn't be here right now.
But then we wouldn't be so tight.
But I like it, Doc. I like hanging out with you.
I'll miss you. You and I will break up soon. I will miss you.
I'm gonna miss you too, Doc.
You will not, but it's okay. You'll be making money and you're gonna forget I even existed.
I bet you I
However,
don't.
okay, we'll see. Okay, but anyway, I'm not a fan of how you got through grad school, which is most often taking notes, and you got your little corner where you went to study and you tried to memorize things. I don't want you to do that. I want to be in your head. I do like sticky notes, but I want sticky notes everywhere on your computer, in the kitchen, in the bathroom. I want you to have this picture ingrained in your head. So whenever we talk about Piaget, you understand he's how my schema develops, my schematic. SPCF, sensory motor, preoperational, concrete, and formal. In the sensory motor stage, that's the first stage. Can anybody tell me what is the goal of that stage?
Is it oh,
Yes, you're right there. Come on, come on.
oh, object permanence?
Ding, ding, ding. Absolutely. What does that mean?
That's like the peekaboo thing. So if the kid knows that you're still there after,
And when does that develop?
I want to say 6 months.
Absolutely. So a question may say, a mom comes into you and she's upset because before, well, let's go back. She may say, my baby goes to anybody. They don't care. They're only 4 months old because they haven't developed object permanence yet. They don't get that mom still exists. So a 4-month-old will go to anybody. I'm sorry. It's just true. They haven't developed the fact that mom is still there. I can tell you, I can tell you. Oh, with that one, hold on. Okay. So this is not really related to this, but I always like to touch feelings. I have 2 Shih Tzus. Oh, back to the US is because I miss my babies. This has been the Cooper and Princess Milan are my babies. The only reason I need to come back to US. Ain't no other reason. My kids are grown. They can get money from me no matter where I was. They could care less. Okay. They did not care about me. Uh my caregiver was let me FaceTime my babies. But the first time I left Princess, my first one, I was terrified that she would fall in love with somebody else and forget me. I really was. I really was. But according to Piaget, before 4 months, they don't really care if I exist. They only care that somebody takes care of them. Out of sight, out of mind. I was the first time I cried. I'd had her about a year. These are dog years. And I'm like, oh my gosh, she's gonna love somebody else and forget me. That's object permanence. I know it sounds silly, but I want to touch feelings. So babies at 6 months get, you're my mama. You're my mama. You're my mama. You're my mama. Prior to that, whatever. That's when stranger anxiety develops, right? Because you're not my mama. So object permanence is the ball still exists. My mother still exists even when I can't see her. The preoperational stage also talks about magical thinking. It talks about animism and egocentrism. A question might say you've got a 5-year-old and her parents are going through a divorce. She's in the preoperational stage. And the parents bring her in because she's so upset. If she's 5, according to Erickson, what does she think? Who caused the divorce?
I think it's her fault.
Her.
It's her fault. No one exists in the world but me. Who else? Who else could be the problem? If I'm 5 and there's a school shooting, what's the problem? Who were they trying to shoot and kill?
Her.
Me. No one else exists in the world but me. That's a normal human development. It happens between 2 and 7. It also happens when you're a teenager. Right? Egocentrism, nobody exists but me. Remember? So Piaget is my cognitive development, how my brain develops. In the concrete stage, those things with the 2 glasses, what's that about?
Observation.
What does that mean?
You can have the same amount of liquid and put them in different shapes, and it's still the same amount of liquid.
Got it. So do we know people that still struggle with that stage in real life, that they don't get that things look differently? I got 3 kids, and as they were growing up, there had to be the same number of boxes under the tree. One could have had 1 sock, one could have had keys to a brand new car. But they didn't get it until they got older, that it didn't matter. It didn't matter if it looked the same. They still they could have, the boxes had the same amount, but they didn't always have the same thing. So conservation is learning that just because it looks different, it doesn't mean that things are the same. And the last one, of course, is the formal stage. He said not everybody gets there. There's some people that really get stuck at the concrete stage. There's some people that never really get abstract thinking. What I normally say is, I've got a full entire staff people. I will always send an email. My email is probably coming, or my text is coming from my voice. I will share something through a voice, and there's people on my staff that if I didn't say the exact same thing, they just don't get it. They're like, what does this mean? Some people cannot do the inferential thinking. They can't infer. If the blanks are left out, they just don't get it. And Piaget also had a moral stage when he developed. However, what we find out later is that he and Kohlberg were friends. So the questions of morality are going to be based on Kohlberg, not Piaget. Kohlberg had 3 stages: conventional, pre-conventional, conventional, and post. Okay. So tell me what happens in those stages. What's the pre-conventional stage? Anybody?
Pre-conventional is when you're just trying to avoid getting in trouble.
Okay. Those are my little kids, right?
Yeah.
All I want to do is the right thing. I could care less about, I haven't developed any internal belief system. I just don't want to get in trouble. Okay. And my convention, remember, there are adults that there are adults that are still in that pre-conventional stage. I know none of you have ever gone on a date, and your date bought you a steak, and they was expecting something at the end. I did for you. What you gonna do for me? Quid pro quo. That's pre-conventional. Conventional is where most people stay. What does that look like? Anybody?
Following the rules, making people think you're good. You want people to see you as being good.
Okay. So I'm going to buckle my seatbelt when I get in the car because
It's the
It's
law.
the law.
exactly. Is there any like deeper thing below that oh my gosh, I don't want to kill anybody. I want to make the right choices or anything deeper than that?
Hmm.
I'll
Not at
get a
that stage.
ticket.
Exactly, exactly. It's only about what society thinks about me, nothing deeper than that. And my post-conventional stage, right? That is where people then really look at, I'm going to do the right thing because it's good for society. It's not just about what's good for me. Okay. These are just basic contents that are hidden in those questions. If you've taken the test before and you're struggling with the human development, no matter what level you're taking, is because you don't really understand some of the basic theories that belong to that. Every question is measuring a KSA, a knowledge, skill, or ability. So the goal is to figure out what are they asking and what are they trying to measure. So let me show you what that looks like in questions. And also this includes diversity, but I don't have a lot of people that struggle a lot with diversity. And if you do, I've got tons of free videos. Most people really struggle with knowing the theorist, knowing what Kohlberg said, knowing what Piaget said. No matter what level you take the test, it could be written in a first or next style. It's still going to be the same theorist. Okay, 1 second. Let me pull up those questions. You want to ask me questions before I pull up questions, guys?
I found the question that me and Jessica was working on.
Okay, you want to ask me about it?
I do. Okay, I'll read it to you. Larry has been using and abusing cocaine since he was 14 years old. He is now 24 and has a long criminal record, which involves possessions of substance. Despite this history, Larry's parents are extremely supportive of his recovery, and his best friend since childhood is willing to help him in whatever way he can. Larry now seems ready, motivated, and committed to accepting rehabilitation and says he truly wants to make major changes in his life. It is most likely that Larry will need. And
Okay, so hold on. So I went through this question with Jessica. So I didn't agree with the answer because the question was about whether or not he needed residential placement.
right.
And I'm going to disagree with that because when I'm looking on the test, so I'm looking for a client that needs residential placement.
Huh?
I'm looking at the fact that their home environment is not safe. They don't have anyone in their home space to protect them. And in that question, I didn't hear anything that he needed to go live someplace else.
Yeah, that's what we said.
Okay. And I've seen lots of questions where people, in real life, I've worked with clients and their PO sends them back home, but I know that their PO, they're sending them back to a total drug environment where mom and dad are users or they're getting drugs for mom and dad. So I did not agree with that particular question, the answer at least.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you for bringing it up again. Okay, take this one for me.
You read a story about a family with 5 kids, and then you ask your 7-year-old client to tell you about the family, who is older than who, etc. He asks for some paper and a pencil so he can show you. He has not yet mastered so you have a kid, you read a story to him, and then you ask him questions about who's the oldest, and then he asks for paper and pencil, and the question wants to know what is it that he has not mastered yet.
What theory is this measuring? What's the theory behind this question?
Master. So, is this Piaget?
It is. It is.
Okay.
Okay. He's 7. So Piaget says SPCF. So he should be in the concrete stage, right?
7.
Okay. So now keep going.
So we have assimilation, object permanence, inferential reasoning, conservation. So we know it's not object permanence. That's something that happens at 6 months.
Okay.
Um,
Okay. Come back question. There we go. Okay.
all right. It's not conservation.
Now you're down to 2. You're going back to the question. Which one answers the question?
I think C answers the question.
Very good. What's assimilation?
Assimilation is, I always get this kind of confused, but is it when someone comes from another country and they assimilate?
Oh, you're in culture. You're in culture. Okay.
Okay.
So in Piaget, assimilation, that's the question that the boy says that woman looks like a whale. And daddy says, no, baby, that's a woman. She can't be a whale. So you're right. Assimilation and acculturation are culture. But in Piaget, he still uses the same words. So assimilation is the little kid. I'll show what that looks like. It's about your schema growing. Hold on, go ahead.
So if I have a cat and a dog, and if I have a younger person over here and they keep calling my cat a dog because he has hair or fur.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay. So the goal is, as my schema is growing, right? I've learned it looks as similar. But then at some point, my daddy says, "Oh, baby, that's not a cat, that's a dog." And I'm always going to remind you that we don't want to just memorize those things, right? Oh, where'd my picture go? There we go. Because we still do this all the time. Accommodation is we made room in our schema for new information. I learned. I tried every small taqueria in Mexico City. I love tacos pastor. What does that mean, my Spanish speaking people? Okay. In Mexico, it means with pineapple. Tacos pastor have pineapple. So my schema has changed, right? Because I've learned, first of all, what that word means. And then I've had to change my belief system because I'm like, pineapples on a taco? Oh, God, that's gross. So my assimilation was tacos. Tacos are tacos. Tacos in America
Sorry, I
have,
was on mute and I couldn't unmute myself, but yeah, it's like marinated in pineapple juice.
yes, and I actually get sliced pineapples. I'm just saying. And I've actually introduced my dogs. My dogs like pineapple too. Just putting that out there. Okay. However, so my assimilation, my first thought is American tacos. Cheese, sour cream on a flour tortilla, right? When I order a taco, I go to Mexico City. Ain't none of that stuff on a taco. I had to accommodate, I had to change my schema for what it looks like in Mexico City. We still continue to learn new things always. Assimilation says we adjust our schema. So the kid said, "Hey, it's a doggy," and she sees a cat and says, "Oh, it's a doggy," and daddy says, "Baby, doggies and cats are different. That is accommodation. Assimilation is the first stage. It looks similar, and accommodation is the second stage. Little kids are learning it quickly all the time. Their schema is going back and forth and left and right, and they're learning. Let's not pretend as adults that we haven't had to change our schema, our schematic. We had to learn different things with what we thought was true. Yes. Am I speaking a foreign language?
You are to me, Dr. Pam.
Okay. So this is Piaget, and you are correct about in culture, you'll see assimilation and acculturation. But in our schematic approach, according to Piaget, the way that my schema develops, assimilation is I take the new information and it's added to what I know. The little girl sees a doggie. She learns a doggie is 4 legs. And then she sees a cat that's 4 legs and furry. So she assimilates, it looks as similar. She says, oh my goodness, this must be a doggie also. The new information is added to her schema. However, when dad teaches her something new, she has to make room in her brain for new information. She has to accommodate the new information. We all do it all day, every day. We just don't do it at the rate kids do. Because kids between 2 and 7 are learning constantly over and over and over and over again. You have all had to change your existing thoughts. Give me an example. Sheila, I'm going to pick on you because I don't know you. I would imagine that the way that I teach is different than the way that other tutors you've followed teach.
Yes, but I'm still a little confused with the answer. Can we go back to the answer?
Can I stay with the content first? Okay.
Okay.
Because remember, I don't care if you get it right or not. I care that you learn content. Okay. So I'm gonna go back. What I said to you is that I teach differently than probably the way that you've ever studied before. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
Okay. Before this session, how did you study?
I listen and I like to take notes.
Okay. And I always ask, how did those notes get off your paper into your head?
I end up forgetting.
Okay. I'm not trying to pick on you. I'm really not. I'm just trying to help you understand the concept. So assimilation is it looks similar. This is what I hear with my clients. I'll ask them a question and they'll say, I don't know it, but I'll know it when I see it on the test because it looks similar. And what I suggest to you is I want you to stop trying to make this fit. I want to change the way that you learn. That's accommodation. Okay, Asia, does this make sense to you?
Yes.
Can you tell me in your own words of how this makes sense to you? I am not trying to toot my own horn. Asia, if you're like, Dr. Pam, you full of BS, just say it. I'm okay with that, okay? So really, call a spade every day, okay? Go ahead.
Um, So you want me to go over like a simulation accommodation?
Yes.
Okay. So how I remember a simulation that I just think of it as something that's similar. I don't know,
Hmm.
like I don't know why I always think A means like two different things. I don't know. That's how I think of it in my head. It might
Okay.
sound crazy, but
It is, but it's okay.
but I know it's just like two different things that are similar. So I kind of think of the same thing like for accommodation, like it does re it's something new, but it's like I can't really explain it.
Okay. Okay. So I'm just gonna recall sessions. Okay. So I'll ask you a question and you'll normally say to me, ooh, I read that someplace. I heard that someplace. It sounds similar, but you really haven't changed your schema to really learn it sometimes. Is that fair? Okay, so assimilation, it sounds similar. It sounds a word I heard before, but I really don't know it.
Mhm.
Accommodation is I'm trying to change the way that you think because I want you to know exactly what it means. I want to change the way that you've been thinking about the test. Okay. Okay. So should I go back to the question? Was that the question? Or was I just talking about that? Okay. Is that my last question?
Yes.
Okay. Read the question for me.
I mean,
Sheila, out loud.
you read it. I mean, you read a story about a family with 5 kids, and then asked your 7-year-old client to tell you about the family, who is older than who, etc. He asks for some paper and a pencil so he can show you. He has not yet mastered. And I guess, again, it's understanding the question, maybe reading it more than once.
I'm raising it a lot of times because I really want you to get what it's asking you. Okay, so we're still in the same theorist. We're talking about Piaget. Okay, he's 7. At 7, is he in the last stage of formal operational?
Mm,
I think I put it in your chat box. You can go back. Okay, so if he's 7, he's
yeah,
still
no.
okay. So in that particular question, if he's 7, he's in concrete, right?
Yes.
Okay. So the concrete stage, is he able to let's go back to that particular question.
Able to look at if something is the same or even different.
Mhm. Okay. He has not yet mastered what? So object permanence, we know, happens at the first stage, sensory motor. Assimilation is not a part of this question because it's nothing to do with being able to figure out whether those things look alike or not. So he can't infer yet.
Assimilation.
The answer is C. He hasn't learned to infer. Okay. In the formal stage, I've learned that. But in the in the concrete stage, I've learned that. He hasn't learned that yet. So this has nothing to do with assimilation versus accommodation. This has to do with just the basic stages of Piaget.
Okay. So he haven't got to that stage yet of assimilation.
Because now let's go back. Assimilation happens before that. Assimilation is in the pre-operational stage when children are learning, their schema is developing. Okay, let me give you a question let's go there. Very basic, okay? Okay. Do you see number one, this particular question here? My computer's had enough tonight. It's like, okay, Dr. Pam, we've worked already. We're done. Can you see that one, the child?
Yeah, I'm trying to read it.
Okay, well, I'm trying to make it bigger, but okay, that one. You see it? A child.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, read it out loud for me. Everything we do is
Oh,
recorded.
a child who knows what a dog is sees a horse for the first time and call it a dog. And calls it a dog.
Mm-hmm.
This behavior best illustrates accommodation.
Say my question first. Understand my question for me. Okay. So he knows what a dog is, and he sees a horse for the first time, and he says, "Oh, that must be a dog." But he knows what a dog is. Okay. So now, accommodation, assimilation, conservation, or egocentrism. We're going to rule out always. What is no way, no how the answer? Egocentrism belongs to who?
Is that Freud?
That's Piaget. That happens in the pre-operational stage, right? Egocentrism is it's all about me. There's nothing in this question that suggests that it's egocentrism. So D is out. Okay. What else can I rule out? We always rule out always. No way, no how the answer.
Accommodation.
I wouldn't go there. I would rule out C first
Okay.
because conservation is the glasses, right? Do they have the same amount? This has nothing to do with how my schema operates. This has to do with the third stage, SPCF, right? In the conservation, SPCF, the concrete stage, is when I learn the glasses have the same amount. So I'm definitely taking out C first. I'm always going to rule out the ones that no way know how the answer. So I'd like to be left with A and B and trying to figure out which is the best answer between A and B. Are you with me?
Yes, I am. I'm just looking. I'm
Okay.
listening.
Okay, so now between A and B, I'm going to go back to the question and try to figure out what it's actually asking me. Okay, so now a child who knows that a horse, what a dog, he knows what a dog, he knows what a dog sees a horse for the first time and he calls the horse a dog. Is it A or B?
Well, I don't want to give the wrong answer, but I'm thinking it's B.
Well, why are you worried about giving the wrong answer?
I don't know.
I'm still going to ask you either way why it's B, because it doesn't matter what answer you give, whether you're wrong or right. I'm still going to call you on it. So B is correct. Tell me why.
Because the simulation, that what he's saying he feels is a dog, and then saying it looks like a horse, trying to, figure out the difference.
Okay, so you got to give me more than that. What exact words prove to me that it's B?
Some
That
He
he feels
already
that it's
knows
similar.
he knows what a dog is, right? He already knows.
Yeah.
It looks as similar in his little brain. When daddy says, no, 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 baby, that's a horsey. That's accommodation where he has to change his schema. But right now, in his little brain, it looks exactly the same. I thank you very much for being brave and working with me, but I promise you, you are not the only one in this room that struggled with that question. Anybody else want to acknowledge that? Well, no, Dr. Pam. I knew the answer from day one. It
So it is B.
is B because he hasn't learned to adjust his schema. Asia, did you do okay with that?
Yes.
Natalie?
Yes.
Okay.
I saw the word similar, so I kind of put that together.
Ding, 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 ding. Okay. Okay. I gotta let you guys go because of time. So there are on my LM, there are 24%. I'm sorry, 27. My LC is 24. We've got to know these theories. We just have to know them. Taking test questions all day, every day won't help you learn them. Watching videos, let me be in your head. Let me just be in your head all day, every day is what I want to do. Mastermind, uh, learned that like yesterday. So I gotta go, guys. I'm trying to have a life.
Well, I do thank you, and I mean I enjoyed the session. I mean,
I
I'm
don't
not
want
good.
you, I don't want you to enjoy it. I want you to feel uncomfortable to learn. I want you to stop doing the same thing over and over again because most of my repeat offenders, you use APGAR, you use RayTube, you use whatever you use, but you haven't learned content. And I want to teach you content. I want to help you understand. You do it all day, every day. We use assimilation and accommodation every day of our lives. If you learn these verbs, this verbiage, and you go to work on Monday, you sound so smart, first of all, but you do it already. You do it already. I was in Mexico City. Can I tell you how much accommodation I had to do? My schema had to keep learning new things every day. By the way, though, if you keep learning new things, research says that's how you keep Alzheimer's away. I'm helping you keep not have a neurocognitive disorder, right? And that's right, neurocognitive disorder, because I want you to keep learning. And those are just facts. Those are just facts that we just keep learning. We keep learning. I will not make you a better social worker. Sorry. I'll make you a better test taker because most of you are smart as all get out. What you're missing is test taking skills. You're missing the verbiage of understanding assimilation versus accommodation. And we just have to learn those things. You all took HBSE, Human Behavior in the Social Environment. You all got an A. Took it at the undergrad and the grad level. It's the same thing. I'm just reminding you of what you've already learned. Okay, guys, you will get the video, you will get questions, you will get everything I can share with you. Bentley wants to say good night. Oh.
Good night, beautiful doggy.
Good night.
Good night.
Thank
Have a
you.
good
Bye,
Bye,
day.
guys.
everybody. Good
Dr.
night, Doc.
Pam.
Thank you so much.
Bye bye.
Okay.